Hello and welcome to my pit. This is September. Happy new month. It's a beautiful month and the Ember month, the way we typically would say. However, welcome once again, and this is the month of attitude. We are going to be talking about attitude. More especially, our focus would be on the winning attitude. So welcome on board. This is Mapit, Make It Plain with Tracy, and really we're dissecting and simplifying life's principles, concepts, and so on and so forth. So welcome once again, and good to meet you on this platform where we will be focusing on attitude. So what's attitude, by the way? What comes to your mind? I just already picture that nasty customer service you received from some retail shop, or some shop down the road, or that person. They're just a picture of someone who maybe constantly does things that just piss you off, or things that just turn you off. When you picture that one person who has that character or behavior, that just switches you off, you say, that person just has a bad attitude, or you say that person is arrogant, or that person is this, or that person is that. Yeah, quite close to it. Yes, but so there's also this other side of attitude. When you think of that lady, that guy, how welcoming, how nice, how patient he could be. I'm just giving examples of transactions where you would have encountered people and their behaviors, and you're like, wow, that's the guy, that's the lady you would always be able to count on. And you speak good of certain persons because of behaviors they had exuded, one way or the other. Then you say, oh, this person has a great attitude, that person has a crappy attitude. So yeah, attitude could be positive, could be negative. So that's what we really want to focus on in the month of September. So welcome to this world of attitude once again, and feel free to share your perspective, your thoughts, your stories, and share on Tracy on Facebook, Tracy Giami Dapa, on YouTube, Tracy Giami Dapa, on Instagram, Tracy Dapa. You can also catch me on WhatsApp as well. So I'll be willing to interact with you, share your story, and let's really converse on attitude. Before I go, I'd like to just remind of some persons who had exuded some characteristics or characters or behaviors that speaks to attitude. Look at Ruth in the Bible, when she said to Naomi, if wherever you go, I will follow, your people will be my people, your God will be my God, and so on and so forth. That was a strong personality, a strong decision to say, I will follow you irrespective. Her attitude to her mother-in-law Naomi, even after her husband had passed and the whole scenario wasn't so pleasant, but she was determined to still stay with Naomi. That was an attitude towards that situation. Also take a look at Esther in the Bible, when Mordecai, her uncle, came to her and said, you need to go to the king, something is about to happen, we need you to please represent us, go to the king, discuss this, discuss that. And she was like, wow, this is not a good time, I can't go to the king now. And Mordecai, her uncle, persisted, persuaded, and said, look, Esther, this is serious, you need to go to the king. Now, I'm just trying to paraphrase and summarize the story. You can feel free to read up the story of Ruth, Naomi in the Bible, read up the story of Esther. We all know Esther, but yeah, read up to get some more details. But the point here is, when Esther looked at the situation and determined that, hey, I'm going to go to the king, I'm going to make this engagement to pray. So she was determined, that's where I'm going. She was determined, and she called on the people, the Jews, and said, you guys all need to be on your knees, wait with me 3 days. I'm going to fast, I'm going to prepare myself to go to the king, and after that I will move and engage him. And if worst case scenario, it's not pleasant. And so what she said is, if I perish, I perish. That was the phrase she said, if I perish, I perish, but I will howbeit go to the king to engage. So that was an attitude as well. There was a desire for some outcome and then an action, and it was so gross, so much so that she had to say, if I perish, I perish. Think about Daniel, when he also proposed in his heart not to defile himself with the king's meals. Okay, this is the story of Daniel. You can look up the story of Daniel as well. So he proposed in his heart to not to defy himself with the king's meals and all of that. It was a difficult thing to do, but he was determined, he was purposeful. These are just some scenarios of people who had certain attitude. You know, they had told themselves, it was a mental thing to really lock yourself in that situation and say, this is going to be my position about this, and then you begin to walk towards it. So those are biblical examples anyways. But then come to maybe the secular world or your goals or your personal life. There's really also an attitude that you could have about your health, about your career, about your business, about your family, about your relationships. So there's some friends that come around and you just sway or swerve towards them because of their attitude. There's a certain way your relationship goes with some kind of friends, and then some other kind of friends. There's also a certain way your relationship attitude is quite deep, it's quite strong, and it's truly a mental position, a way you I think really you just a posture you take towards something. It could be a fact, a state of mind, an event. Some people is about tribe. Oh, I don't want to marry a Yoruba man. My daughter will not marry Igbo. Oh, I'm Edo, I must stick to. So these are attitudes that over time people have developed towards things. So the reasons, really, there will be reasons. There definitely will be reasons why people would have attained this behavior or positions about whatever scenario it is. That's for sure. We'll get to that as we go along. But yeah, so we're saying irrespective of what the reasons might be, your attitude is really important. Okay, permit me and forgive me if I'm too biblical today, but yeah, there's also the story of the sick man who stayed by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years waiting for the pool to be stirred, and the formula then was the first person to jump into the water receives his or her healing. So I really try to picture that, and I wonder, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 35, 36, 37, 38 before it was his opportunity, before he got a chance to be the first to jump in, and then got healed. But you now see, all of these guys have mentioned who were strong, who had strong positions and attitude about, going for what they needed, irrespective of the obstacle. They kind of made history. Esther, Daniel, even Isaac, who dug wells that kept being closed up by the people, habitats of the land, and they kept digging and so. But there's an attitude, and that's what I want us to pick. There's some characteristics, determination, being purposeful, and so on and so forth that these people wore, and it drove them. So there's something about transforming your attitude to action, and then action to result, and we're going to talk more about it as we go along. So just introducing attitude, get ready for more. Attitude truly is everything. Someone says 2 things define you. Okay, your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything. I will stop here for now. Catch you next week. Stay with me, Map It. Okay, I would like to hear your feedback, your stories, and what you think about attitude. We're going to talk more about attitude, positive attitude, negative attitude, how to work on your attitude and become a better version of you. Thank you once again. I love you. This is Map It, and I'll catch you next week.